You know, we all love our houseplants. They have that splash of green, a bit of life to our rooms, and we've all heard they're these amazing natural air purifiers. But is that actually true? Today, we're going to put that to the test. In the real fight for clean indoor air, who's the champ? Our leafy friends or these high-tech machines?
Okay, so let's just get right to it. Is that little jungle you've got growing on your windowsill really scrubbing the air you breathe? Or, is the story a little more complicated than that? I think the answer is probably going to surprise you.
So where did this whole idea even come from? Well, to really get to the root of it, we have to travel back in time. And this isn't some old folklore passed down for generations. Nope, it comes from a very specific, very high-tech study from a source you will definitely recognize.
And here it is, the famous 1989 NASA Clean Air Study. Now, the goal here was pretty brilliant. They were trying to figure out how to keep the air clean for astronauts in completely sealed-off space stations. And what they found was that, common houseplants could actually pull some nasty chemicals, these things called volatile organic compounds, right out of the air. The finding was a huge deal, and bam, just like that, the idea of plants as little green air filters just took off and honestly never really looked back.
But, and this is a really big but, the context of that experiment is everything. See, NASA did their tests in these tiny, completely sealed chambers. I mean, think of a glass jar on a lab table. Your home, on the other hand, is this huge, drafty space. Doors are opening, windows are leaking air, and new pollutants are coming in all the time. The two environments could not be more different.
So for decades, we've basically been taking science meant for a space station and applying it to our living rooms. So, in 2019, some researchers at Drexel University decided, you know what, it's time for a reality check. They went back and looked at all the studies from the last 30 years to finally figure out if this space-age idea actually works here on Earth.
And this is the number that just changes the entire conversation. 680. That is how many plants you would need in a typical room to get the same air cleaning power as just one standard air purifier. I mean, we're not talking about a home office anymore. That's a full-on tropical jungle. All of a sudden, that natural solution doesn't seem quite so practical, does it?
And this quote right here, it reveals the secret ingredient from that original NASA study. See, they didn't just use plants. The pots also had activated carbon filters mixed into the soil. And it turns out that carbon was doing a ton of the heavy lifting, removing all those chemicals. But, well, the plants were just a lot more photogenic and they got all the credit.
Okay, so if turning your apartment into a literal greenhouse isn't the answer, then what is? Well, it's time we look at the engineered solution, the machine that was built from the ground up to do exactly this job.
An air purifier is basically a three-punch combo against dirty air. First up, you've got a HEPA filter. Think of it like an incredibly fine net that physically traps almost all the tiny stuff, dust, pollen, mold, you name it. Second, there's a layer of activated carbon, just like in the NASA study, that soaks up odors and those gassy VOCs. And third, a powerful fan just sucks all the air in your room through those filters again and again every single hour.
And when you actually put them side by side, it's not even a fair fight. I mean, look at this. In every category that really matters for cleaning the air, how effective they are, how fast they work, the different kinds of pollutants they can handle, the purifier is just on a completely different level. Plants might take weeks or even months to have a tiny effect. A purifier gets to work in minutes.
Okay, I know. This might sound like really bad news for all you plant lovers out there. So are we saying your green friends are just pretty decorations? No way. Absolutely not. They actually have a totally different and really important secret weapon when it comes to making your home healthier.
And that secret weapon? It's humidity. You see, plants are constantly breathing. They release water vapor into the air through a process called transpiration, and this gently raises the room's relative humidity, or RH, which is really just a fancy way of saying how much moisture is floating around in the air.
So why on earth does that matter? Well, this chart says it all. A ton of research shows that many airborne viruses, including the flu, absolutely love dry air. It helps them survive and travel. But once you get the humidity into that sweet spot, somewhere between 40 and 60%, their ability to survive and spread drops a lot.
So this is the plant's real unsung superpower. They are perfect, all-natural humidifiers. They help keep your home in that 40 to 60% sweet spot that's not only more comfortable for us to breathe in, but is also way less friendly to all those airborne viruses.
Which brings us to the real takeaway here.
This was never really about plants versus air purifiers. It's actually about plants and air purifiers. The smartest way to look at this is to see them as a team, not competitors, both working together to give you the healthiest home possible.
So here's the dream team setup. You let the air purifier be the workhorse. It does the heavy industrial cleaning. It filters out the dust, the pollen, the smoke, and the chemicals. And at the same time, your plants are managing the atmosphere, regulating the humidity to make the air itself healthier, all while, let's be honest, boosting your mood and making your space look amazing.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. As we all get smarter about living healthier indoors, what does that future look like? Is it going to be all high-tech gadgets, a return to all natural solutions, or is the real answer a smart, thoughtful mix of the very best of both worlds? If you ask me, it seems like the smartest homes of the future will be both green and clean.